Coming up on show 816, Infiniti plans to launch one new EV. Well, at least it's one. Stick around, I'll tell you more. Plus, the Cybertruck is hitting the Petersen Museum. Got some amazing pictures to recommend to you. Tesla's Giga Shanghai is seeing interesting expansion. The Porsche Taycan Cross Turismo is spied, and why EV car sales at least, look like they're bouncing back. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to EV News Daily, edition for Sunday, 21st of June. My name is Martyn Lee. What I do is go through every EV story, and that means you don't have to. Basically a time saver. That's what I am. I'm just catching up, playing catch up a couple of days after this show should have gone out. Thank you for your patience. So, like most Tesla products pre-release, the Cybertruck is shrouded in an air of mystery. Nobody's really seen it anywhere, apart from the reveal event, which was pretty dark, to be honest with you, and we were all obsessed with windows shattering. And even then afterwards on the test drives, when, yeah, sure, people were taking plenty of YouTube videos and pictures going online on shaky camera phones, we got to see more of it in a less high definition and a more kind of rough and ready way, but also it was dark and we didn't see too much of it. There's been some videos of Elon driving it around in Los Angeles and California, and those do the rounds on social media. Jay Leno's garage had an episode aired, but was tightly edited. We saw more of it, but it was nice. Now, you can see as much of the Cybertruck as you want. Get up close and personal, presuming you can get to the Petersen Automotive Museum in Los Angeles. It's gone on display. I told you about this story a couple of days ago on the podcast, but now it has actually opened to the public. Autoblog have been in and taken a bunch of photos. Now, by the look of it, they are either invited early before the doors opened, or they hung around in the broom cupboard, and then when it was closed, they took some photos. There's nobody in the background. So these are real beauty shots that Autoblog have taken. The lighting's good. They've also gone, first of all, I should say, there is a rope barrier around it. There's one of these vehicles in the world. I hate to imagine how many millions it's worth. And so, for that reason, you can't exactly climb all over it. There's a little rope around it. However, they have taken some super close-up shots of very, very fine, intricate details. And if you are located in the area, you can go and see Cybertruck in person. They're taking reservations at the Petersen for entry. No walk-ins for the time being. Obviously, we're coming out post-COVID. Cybertruck itself won't be there for long, though. It's going to be there until July the 5th. The stainless steel is really striking. The truck is intimidating. It's huge and still looks weird. And it still looks like it's from outer space. There's Autoblog that actually you can even see the production marks on the stainless steel. And you can see the where it's been produced. They haven't buffed it out. They haven't tried to make it look pretty. There's definitely sort of industrialness about this. They've got so many close-up shots of things like the folded metal and where the lights, because it's got that sort of that razor-thin light, LED light that goes all the way across the front. Where that meets the metal. Stuff that we just wouldn't have seen in the dark of the reveal. And also from every angle as well. It's interesting. There's definitely a prototype car. It's definitely rough and ready. It's not the finished article. But even seeing things like the cameras on the side, which I hadn't really seen a close-up before, but obviously, Teslas have the cameras on the side of the vehicles for part of the driver assist functions, but also this doesn't have any wing mirrors. And who knows if it will have wing mirrors. US is currently undergoing a possible change to their legislation. The cars like the Audi e-tron that have cameras for mirrors. The Honda E, not that you get that in the US, but those have the cameras for mirrors, but you can't do that in the US. Legislation says you have to have a physical piece of glass or at least something that is a mirror. And so Cybertruck hasn't got that. Really interesting to look at just real close-ups of things like the tyres. Have no markings on, just this Goodyear. But I was hoping to look at the tyres and kind of nerd out a little bit on all the stuff on there, but very much custom made by Goodyear for the Cybertruck. If you are 5% as nerdy as me about EVs, have a look at the link I'll pop in the show notes to these photographs and let me know what you think as well. I spent probably too long today on what is effectively a day off. I'm on holiday at the moment, meant to be spending family time, and Spent it looking at the Cybertruck. Yeah, well done, Lee. Now let's move on and talk about Tesla Giga Shanghai. The pace of Gigafactory Shanghai's construction has reached a point where it's now normal to see massive buildings being built from the ground up in just a handful of months. But over the last few months, all eyes have been focused on Phase 2 or Phase 3. Some people call it Phase 2A. It's the Model Y factory. And let me tell you, if you want to see drones in action, go anywhere near a Tesla Gigafactory in operation. Berlin, Shanghai, drones everywhere. There's YouTube videos daily. And they show a complex structure being built that go far beyond the Model Y building. According to Simon at Teslarati, as could be seen in a recent video posted by one drone operator, Jason Yang, the Model Y factory at Giga Shanghai is coming to form. I mean, there could well be cars coming out of it by the end of the year, but a bigger story is forming right beside it. What's interesting is a huge structure being built next to the Model Y factory, and Tesla so far have been quiet about the nature of what they're building there. I will say to you, batteries, but also other things as well, like maybe a smaller form factor vehicle for the Chinese market. There's certainly a lot of building going on at Gigafactory Shanghai, way beyond what we thought they needed for Model 3, Model Y batteries. We thought that we'd covered it off, but there's a lot more going up than we realised. What do you think? What could it be? I'd like to hear from you anytime. Let's talk Porsche. The Taycan Cross Turismo has been spied testing alongside its sedan counterpart, the one that you are used to seeing. The Taycan Cross Turismo is official. We've seen spy shots to prove it. And Stuttgart have already confirmed that the all-electric Porsche Taycan will launch towards the end of this year in Cross Turismo form. With that said, Porsche has its hands on deck developing the production version of the Mission E Cross Turismo, says Motor One. That was a great name, wasn't it? Early doors, the Mission E. That was a great name for the Taycan. Spy photographers have been able to spot the Cross Turismo version 2 months ago, testing in the snow, and now spy shots show it's testing on roads alongside the regular Taycan. Despite that, I mean, the Cross Turismo is based on the Taycan's architecture. The rear end is obviously very different. And as such, you would think that the powertrain is going to be the same. So output ranging between 530 horsepower and 761 horsepower, depending on what model you go for. I'll pop a link to those photos in the show notes. Headline story today: Infiniti has been hit hard by COVID-19, and they're dropping some models in order to prevent them losing money. But at the same time, new models are being added, even electrified ones. Says Inside EVs. According to one report we saw published in Automotive News, quoting the Infiniti chairman Payman Karga, who confirmed plans to introduce at least one pure EV. Actually, I've added the phrase "at least." He said adding one pure EV. It could be that Infiniti only ever adds one pure EV, but you know, one is greater than none and all that. And he said they're adding I've got to try and get through this next sentence without losing it. He says they're adding a petrol-powered EV. Okay. The former, right, the full EV is straightforward. The latter has us intrigued. It will probably be a performance-based version with a very, very, very small battery pack that uses the e-power technology that Nissan have. So, of course, the Infiniti is the upmarket bit, the more luxurious bit of Nissan. They do have technology, which is very, very popular in their home market of Japan, by the way, where they have a petrol engine that runs continuously, producing power as a generator. That continuously charges a very, very small battery that uses battery chemistry that, is designed to cope with multiple charges and discharge cycles. It's called e-power. Well, their branding for it is e-power. And it looks like that's what they'll be doing at Infiniti, but it looks like they're calling them petrol-powered EVs. I might be changing the end of my podcast to say there's no such thing as a petrol-powered EV. However, the e-power technology is very, very, very popular, and it means that you can still drive on petrol if you want to. There's no plug socket on them, obviously, but it means that the engine inside these things runs in a more optimal power band. No changing gears, more efficient. You do get more miles per gallon. It wouldn't be for me. I don't even want to talk about it on an EV podcast. But the good news is Infiniti are committing to one full EV. Well, Google Trends data is showing something really interesting. Since the strategy changed in the UK around the second week of May to start to come out of COVID-19 lockdown, there has been a big demand in the automotive industry, so much so that demand in the UK automotive industry is now paralleling the pre-lockdown numbers according to Google Trends data. Now, I've not surveyed a bunch of car dealers to ask if they're selling as many cars, but Google Trends, the surge in demand is evident in EVs particularly. The Road to Recovery dashboard. That is a tool which you can use if you want to. The Road to Recovery dashboard. It's built by LeaseFetcher, a car leasing comparison company. They're based in Scotland, and they say the dashboard aims to observe long-term and immediate changes in demand with electric vehicles to inform predictions about the future of the EV industry. According to Will Craig, who is the founder of LeaseFetcher, pulling its raw data from Google Trends on a weekly basis, their tool tries to provide an insight into consumer sentiment and what people are searching for. Back in March, demand nosedives. Following the announcement on the 11th of May of the UK's plan to come out of COVID lockdown, introducing different steps of recovery, demand then increased. And while the search volume for the phrase electric car hasn't returned to its pre-COVID levels, which were record-breaking, by the way. January and February, record-breaking levels for the phrase electric car searches on Google. It's already surpassing year on year. So even with COVID, this time compared to last year, it's even bigger. Final story today, new government-backed research is claiming that a switch to EVs could inject a much-needed £24 billion worth of investment into our UK economy over the next 5 years. And if that's happening, you've got to say that would be happening all around the world. Wherever you're listening, the Advanced Propulsion Centre is a collaboration between UK government and the car industry, and they're concluding that the transition away from fossil-gobbling vehicles to electrified powertrains will create a wealth of opportunities, according to the Times newspaper and reported on driving.co.uk. They broke down the $24 billion into 12 billion on batteries, 10 billion on power electronics, and 2 billion on electric machines. Power electronics refers to devices that control how electricity in EVs are used. And the phrase electric machines is what they mean in terms of the machinery that manages the conversion, kind of the inverters, if you like, of electricity to mechanical energy. So motors and inverters and things like that. All right, question of the week time. I was asking you about conversations you've had with people about EVs, friends, family, work colleagues. Richard Wiggins says that every time he tells anyone about an EV, they always say to him a version of the line, yes, I'd love to own one, but they're so expensive. So what do you do? Richard says that's always. He tells people about EVs, their reaction is always, they're too expensive. Rajiv Narayan says 3 years ago, Hurricane Harvey disrupted gasoline supplies in San Antonio, and he finally pulled the trigger on buying an EV. A Chevy Bolt is his weapon of choice, and it's great fun to drive and reduce how much he spends on gas. Now, he shares those experiences with co-workers, and in particular, one gave her a ride, and she loved it so much, went and bought one. Since then, they have both bought plug-in vehicles. He's got a Volt. She's gone for the Prius Prime. Both driving about 80 miles a day. They both work in hospitals and clinics and dialysis units, saving, Rajiv says, about $6,000 a year on gas, and investing in community solar as well. It's great to see that all it takes sometimes is to give someone a test drive in an EV, and they are converted. Martin Young says, I was talking with a gentleman who is a strong advocate for increased oil drilling in the US, and he asked why, he says, Martin says, why this other chap felt so strongly, and he said it was because he wanted the US to drill for oil because of energy independence. He didn't like relying on other countries, and who might not like the US at some point in the future, or even now. Martin said that in his 2016 Chevy Volt, it's a gas car that rarely uses gas, and it's a car that will run on electricity most of the time. And he said, the thing about electricity is if you make it in America, it's 100% American. I mean, you can't really claim ownership of the sun. However, wherever you generate it, it's yours. So either it's on your roof or in big solar farms, but it's American solar, not imported. It's made. And so that is the ultimate definition, surely, of energy independence. I mean, if the sun stops emitting heat, I mean, we're all in trouble, right? So it'll be the end of civilization. So for as long as the sun supports life, if you have solar generation, that's all you need. You are truly energy independent. You don't answer to the man, even the government. He said that he paused and simply said, "You're right." Finally, Kyle Kramer said that he took his nieces in his plug-in hybrid, his Chevy Volt, and when the battery ran out, it switched over to gas, and they said, "Oh no, we've started polluting." I love that. I thought I'd end on that one. It's so sweet. I love your nieces getting so worried about the gas engine coming back on. You're right. That's a rubbish feeling. And I'm so pleased that the next generation of people love driving on EV power. Thank you for your responses this week. Let's hit a brand new question of the week. A brand new question of the week. Here we go. I'll read out yours on Sunday. Here we are. How would you like to see green number plates or green stickers or bumper stickers or window stickers being used to incentivize EVs? Now, I mention that because there's a scheme here that in the autumn we're getting green number plates, and other countries have got them already, but we're getting them in the autumn. I don't know if they'll be available for me to put one on my car or whether it just comes with new cars. I would think the former. I would think that I can apply to have one, but at the minute there's no defined incentives. All they've said was that by the autumn they hope that they'll have some agreed, and that could be use of bus lanes, use of car parking spaces, free parking, maybe identifying other incentives or advantages to having a green number plate. So I'd like to know from you how you would like to see green plates or green stickers used to incentivize EVs. You get window stickers, you get bumper stickers in some places for like carpooling lanes and things like that. Let me know your thoughts. My email address is hello@evnewsdaily.com, or leave a comment on the YouTube show. Well, there are 231 patrons of the podcast. There's more. There's 2 more. I've got 2 names to read out tomorrow. But thank you very much if you are a supporter. And as always, on a Sunday, I will read out your names for those supporting at $10 and above every month. There's Phil Roberts of Electric Future, who is a premium partner, alongside Brad Crosby, long-time supporters. Avid Technology here in the UK. Brightsmith Group, they are a new company looking after clean tech talent. Porsche of the Village in Cincinnati. Audi of Cincinnati East, and Volvo Cars. Oh, lovely XC40 Recharge. Yes, please, of Cincinnati East. And new, as of this week, nationalcarcharging.com, and in Hawaii, their sister company, allohacharge.com. Hello to my partners, OEM Audio of New Zealand and evpower.co.nz. Check them out online in New Zealand for your EV goodies. Paul O'Connor is a partner of the show. Tryev.com, getting you into EVs. Gareth Hamer is eMobility Norway. I'm looking forward. We've got to get him on the show. We've got to get Jan on the show talking about what he does. And eMobilityNorway.com is his website. And also Bob Boothby, who runs Millbrook Cottages and Elopement Wedding Venue. And ev-resource.com as well, long-time supporter. And also all of my executive producers, Alan Robson, Alan Shedd, Alex Banahini, Alexander Frank, Anders Hove, Andrea Jefferson, Asir Khalid, Ashley Hill, Bjard Fuchstack, Brent Kingsford, Brian Thompson, Bruce Bohannon, Charles Hall, Chris Hopkins, Colin Hennessy, he runs Cams EV, Craig Coles, Craig Rogers, Damien Davis, Darren Bird, Darren Feach, Darren San, and Yorkshire EVs, Dave Jewson, David Barkman, and David Finch. David Moore, David Partington, David Prescott, Derek Riley, and the Dublin EV Owners Club. Don McAllister, who is a busy lad running screencastsonline.com. Enrico Stefan Schillo, Eru Kyunyombi, Frederick Rovick, Free Jewel, who is James, Gene Rubin, Gilberto Rosado, Jeff Lowe, Headley Wright, Ian Griffiths, Ian Sear, Ian Watty Watkins, Jack Oakley, James Storr, Jerry Allison, Jim Duggan, Jim Morris, John Bailey, John C. Solar, John Lacey, and Click Like Video NZ. John, who is Beardy McBeardface, and Kent EVs, John Manchak, Juan Gonzalez, Ken Morris, Kevin Masson, Carl Mann, Lars Dallager, Lawrence D. Allen, Lee Brown, Luke Cully, Marcel Lohman, Marcel Wood, Mark Bossett, Martin Croft, he's the Dorset tradesman, Marty Young, Matt Piccioni, Maz Shah, Michael and Luke Turrell, Mia Oppelstroff, Michael Pastrodi, Mike Rogers, Mike Winter, Nathan Gore Brown, Neil E. Robertson, Sussex EVs, Nigel Miles, Northern Explorers, and Ohad Aston. And finally, Paul Ridings, I say it finally, it's on the next page. I've just scrolled down. Paul Stevenson, Perry Simpkins, Pete Glass, Pete Gorton, Peter and D. Roberts, Oxen EVs, Phil Mouchet, Philip Troutman, Pontus Kinblad, Raj Badwell, Rajiv Narayan, Ralph Jensen, Renee Schneider, Richard Lupinski, Rob Cooling, teaching people to drive in electric cars at appledriving.co.uk, Rob Hammonds, Robert Grace, Robin Tanner, Rupert Mitchell, Sari Kangasoja, Seiki Payne, Stephen Penn, Steve John, Thomas J. T.S., The Plug Seeker and his EV YouTube channel, Tim Gutteridge and William Langhorne. Have a wonderful day. I'll catch you tomorrow for a brand new week. Oh, do remember, there's no such thing as a self-charging hybrid. And there's no such thing as a gas-powered EV!